What is going on, beautiful people, and welcome back to another episode of The Nathan Scott Show. This is a Monday edition of The Nathan Scott Show. I'm happy to be back behind the mic and recording an episode. I have nothing to present to you like a Conversations with the World or a Top 8 with Nate today. It's just going to be me talking to you, the person who clicked on this link, which I appreciate you 9,000 for doing that. Today I'm just going to chit-chat a little bit. There's a few things that I wanted to get off my chest here. First off, this is kind of my second attempt in recording this episode. I actually recorded it last Monday, and the attempt to get back to recording a podcast has been challenging. I don't know why I've been able to produce other podcasts and focus on those, but it's a little bit difficult actually doing a podcast solo. And I've been able to do it in the past, and I've really lost it. But I also just miss doing Conversations with the World, and I'm really just trying my best to be social on social media and obtain a new guest, whether it's a friend, a family member. I'm gonna try my best. I haven't been social that much as much. I've been social when it comes to like being on the podcast I produce, which is enough for me and the people in my house. But and then reactivating my Instagram, which is at the State of Nate, if anybody would like to follow me. But I've been just trying my best to get back to what I love doing, and that's just opening up the mic and talking to you. And that's basically it. So let me just get right into this Monday edition of the Nathan Scott Show. There were some things that I wanted to share, which I posted last week on the Spacekaiju Podcast Network Instagram page. Don't mind the noise in the background. That's my dog. She is the only one that deserves to make noise in the background of a podcast because she is a sick dog right now. She is not doing well, but it is very good to see her very cheery and playful right now, because that's not what she was doing the past couple of days with her stomach issue and her poop issue. But that's another story. Just letting you know that there will be squeaking in the background as I discuss a few things that I shared on my Spacekaiju podcast Instagram page, as I said. And I posted 2 questions. What are some of your favorite podcasts? And I did get one response from Unpopular Passion Podcast, which first off, I have to give a shout out to this podcast because Drea, she has really done a well done job of creating a podcast and starting it up. She's already let me see, I haven't listened to all the episodes yet. I'm actually working my way backwards, and I started with what got my attention was my good friend Chris. He and his wife were on one of her episodes, and it was a fantastic listen. So much to listen and learn from, especially Chris. I love that man, and he's one of my best friends, and it was just great to hear him on a podcast. Hopefully I can get him on my podcast sometime. But lots to learn from them and their business, Hookie Cookie. Shout out to Hookie Cookie. If you love some gourmet cookies, which they're fantastic, first off, I'm going to promote them all the time. The campfire s'mores are my top favorite, and the churro ones. The churro ones, they got little churros on the top. Make sure you keep an eye out for those, because those are my top cookies there. Hookie Cookie, or you can go to hookiecookie.com. But go back to shouting out Drea. She has conversations with people she knows. So far, these are just close friends of hers, and they're great listens. I've got a lot. I've gained a lot of knowledge and gems from certain episodes, like the Alex Vu episode, which this dude's like kind of like me. He's into like videography and photography, and he inspired me a little bit. He inspired me to to be a little bit more open when it comes to networking in the tech and videography field. But like I said, the Julie and Chris Alipio episode is a must listen. Lena Castillo episode is fantastic. She has a phenomenal laugh. It's very what is the word? Contagious. I love contagious laughs. That's one thing I love in a person, and the conversation between them two was fantastic. You learn a lot about fashion and what goes on in Lena Castillo's life. Also, this most recent episode that just got dropped about like 2 days ago, Patrick Barcinella and Drea and Patrick are fantastic friends, and just them. I love listening to people, reminisce and catch up, and conversations between two friends. I just enjoy it, and then you get a lot of like I said, gems from these episodes. You're learning a lot from them. So check her out, Drea. Unpopular Passion podcast, which goes back to my question, which I posted on my IG for the network, which was, what are your favorite podcasts? And she submitted My Favorite Murder, Bodega Boys, and Let's Not Meet podcast. So I did check out My Favorite Murder. That was I believe, two female comedians who also take on these cases and stuff like that. And then the Bodega Boys, I didn't know who the Bodega Boys were at first, and then I think Desus and Mero, I believe that's them, and then I looked into it. So good recommendations, and not recommendations, but I like to see what other people are listening to, because I've never heard of these podcasts, and I'm very stuck to my listening routines. I have my podcasts that I just love so much that I wouldn't miss an episode, like The Brilliant Idiots, or what's up, baby girl? What, your bunny? Look at my dog. She just wants me to throw the toy. I'm actually putting on a display here because I'm also recording this episode on my camera. I thought, I have the house to myself. That is what I've been asking for when trying to record these podcasts, because I can really just be myself. It's crazy. It's crazy to say that it's kind of tough to be myself when I have my family in the house, but I must go on. I must record, and honestly, the Unpopular Passion podcast kind of inspired me to really get back to it. Just the fact that Drea is actually carrying on these conversations that I kind of want to have, and like I listen to these episodes, and I'm like, oh, I wanted to ask this, and that happens to me also with the Transparency with Robert Smith podcast on my podcast network. I'm producing my great friend Robert's podcast, and I'm really enjoying it because it's really fascinating to I love listening to people talk. Maybe just like a one-on-one, whatever they discuss. It's just fantastic to hear two people who are passionate about discussing what they are passionate about. And Robert, he's really transparent, and that's exactly what his podcast is called. And he does a real good job of having these conversations, which I enjoy too. And that inspires me as well. That inspires me because, Robert doesn't really ask all the questions that I would definitely ask, but it makes me want to say, hey, you have your own podcast. Oh, Jesus. Oh my gosh. That was a very loud bang, and I apologize for that loud bang. I had just set up, I should have hung this properly. I'm going to try to edit that so it's not that loud, but I'm going to explain to you what just happened. I basically just got a frame for an old record that my cousin Carlos got for me. It's the 2001 A Space Odyssey soundtrack from back in the day. It's torn up, it's beat up, it's not that much in good condition, but the record's in there, and it's not, like I said, it's not in pristine condition to put into a casing for the frame, but it really means a lot to me because my cousin, he's telling me he was going down like an old town city, and there was like a bookstore that was giving out like low cost records and books, and he saw that and he thought of me, and he got it for me, and I just like, shit, I've held on to it for so long too. It was such a freaking amazing gift, and I finally got a case for it, and that's basically what fell and made that very loud noise and made me go off track here. But I was saying, basically going back to what I was saying that Robert, just Robert, Drea, just any podcast I listen to, Andrew Schultz, he had the Wolf of Wall Street, the original Wolf of Wall Street on their podcast, interviewing him about stocks when a whole GameStop thing happened, AMC and all that shenanigans. And I just enjoy listening to people talk. And if I just have a chance to converse with somebody about something that they're passionate about, or whatever I'm passionate about, which is podcasting and film and movies, that's kind of what I want to focus on, conversations with the world, which, like I said, I'm going to try my best to get another episode out. But going back to these questions, thank you, Unpopular Passion. I'm going everywhere now, trying to focus and hone in the conversation here with you, the listener, which I appreciate. Which reminds me, if you're listening to this episode of the Nathan Scott Show here on the Spacekaiju Podcast Network, I'd appreciate it if you head over to the SpacekaijuProductions.com website. At the top left corner of the website, if you shop Amazon and you'd like to support the network and what I do here and help me grow just a tad bit, every click that you do through that banner and purchase you do towards Amazon helps the podcast network grow. So I'm just going to mention that real quick. I definitely want to mention that and see if you'd support me, because I don't make a lot of money podcasting, but I like to, and that helps. That definitely helps. I'm going to take a quick break for a water real quick. All right, forgive me. Just needed some water there. All right, so back to the show, in which I'm kind of just guerrilla shooting here because I have the time. What's something you're very interested in at this moment in time? So that's also another question that I posted, in which I got one response from, and I actually don't have who gave me this question. I apologize, but they are a new follower to the Spacekaiju Podcast Network Instagram page. So I appreciate you, 9,000, for following me on Instagram. Yeah, and I'll try my best to continue posting and creating posts, social media posts. That is one thing I'm working on, creating and utilizing my iPad to create social media posts for other podcasts I produce and myself. So hopefully I can better myself at that and utilize Instagram a lot more. The importance of plugging back in and keeping up with mental maintenance. That was a response, which I think is very important. Plugging back in. That is exactly what I'm trying to do, especially with podcasting, because I haven't uploaded Conversations with the World in quite some time. That the last episode was probably October, November, with Robert Smith, Transparency, as he decided to renew his season 2 of Transparency with Robert Smith. So I've been lagging to record a couple of episodes and do what I love here. But I have some things coming. Plugging back in, it's back to your question. Plugging back in, it's all part of the process. I think COVID has really wrecking balled everybody. It's like a big wrecking ball. That's what COVID was, and I think everyone's just trying to get back up at this point. Like myself, I'm plugging back in. I'm returning to therapy. I'm back 3 weeks already, and I see my therapist this week actually, and that's been a giant help, because I tend to not talk to a lot of people and keep a lot to myself, except for what I share on the podcast, because of what the podcast means to me and everything, which I'll share with you another time. But that's also a part of it, talking to someone, talking to your family, talking to either a therapist if that's your choice. Working out. I've been working out every day. Today I did my yoga outside this time, my stretches and my yoga outside, and I hit the indoor bike, which was good for the quads. I did a lot of good cardio with that, and I switch it up every week. No, every day, not every week. I switch it up, meaning I skate for a little bit, maybe a couple of laps around the block. I play some basketball, go for a run. I like the runs. I got to do more runs because I enjoy like going new places. So which I like basically what I'm trying to say is I like tracking my runs with my Apple Watch, and then like looking at what the map I had just ran. So like maybe like trying to spell my name through the streets one day. I don't know. I'm gonna try it out sometime. But it's all about plugging in. Mental maintenance. It's all working out. From what I hear, I'm a avid podcast listener, and I listen to the Breakfast Club, and this is what they're saying. This is what you got to do. You got to work out. You got to make sure you're communicating. You're staying on top of it. You've got to plug back in, and I've got to say, plugging back in is not going to be easy, people. Oh, people. Why did I say people? I don't want to use that on the podcast. Plugging in is not going to be easy because, for instance, it may be easy for some people, but for me, and I've seen a couple of people that I see it maybe be frustrating, is that it may be too early for some of us to jump right back into it. I still, vaccine or not, and plus I have yet to get the vaccine. Type 1 diabetic, I'm not too sure of how that will play out in the long run, or if that would have any effect with me at all. It's not that easy for me. I am having the most anxiety ridden trips to the store sometimes, but you got to go. Some people just don't know how to keep the distance. Some people don't know how to keep the foot on the floor. The stickers are on the floor for a reason. Well, you standing right next to my butt. That's what I gotta ask. It's not gonna be easy for all of us. Still looking for a job. I'm still trying to produce more podcasts so I can bring in more money. Right now I'm just making money from Transparency with Robert Smith podcast, which I'm grateful for, and the Mighty Morphin podcast network with Can I Finish Pod and Not Another Wrestling podcast, which they just started up producing those podcasts, and that's good. And I need to produce more so I can make more money. Maybe so I don't have to get a job and I can just continue to do what I love here. Anyway, that's all part of the plan. Just plugging back in when it comes to mental maintenance. You know what else has helped me? Actually, I've started journaling. My good friend Chris, actually, the one I discussed about, from the Unpopular Passion podcast, which I told you about. He told me about journaling. He told me about how important it was to him, and I hear about it all the time. It helps out a lot of people, and I've talked about it with my therapist, and I've been journaling. This iPad has been amazing. Notability is one of the most amazing apps, because for me, when I write on paper, I write hard. I don't know what it is. I put too much pressure and then my hand starts hurting. But when you write with the Apple Pencil, it's just whoops, just hit the mic there. When you write with the Apple Pencil, it's no hurting in the wrist, and which I can write with, and I have endless PDF pages to write on. So that's all part of it. That was a great question from my end, and a great response from your end. So I'm sad that I didn't write down who that question was from and write it down in my notes, but I thank you for the importance of plugging back in and keeping up with mental maintenance. Yes. All right. Moving on from those questions, I didn't really know exactly what I was going to fill this episode with, but just to kind of promote the podcast network, and maybe something I'm going to do this week. No, not maybe I'm going to do. The thing I will be doing this week, because look, if you're watching this episode on YouTube, which I may upload, my shirt is in memory of Daft Punk, because today marks the day that they call it quits. 28 years. Holy moly. I got so emotional once I saw the video. It's called Epilogue on their YouTube channel, and I got so emotional because it makes me angry, because that's on your bucket list. You in your life you have a bucket list, and you want to see who you want to see, and there were no openings. I'm telling you, if I would have spent every penny in my bank account to see Daft Punk, and now I will never get to see Daft Punk, and it sucks. I just love them so much, which brings to me, for this week, I will definitely have to make an episode of the top 8 with Nate. I will be doing the top 8 Daft Punk songs from yours truly, Nathan Scott Torres. So yeah, I'm a little bummed out. The video they posted was very emotional, from my eyes. It definitely teared up a lot. But I love it. I love that they gave me something to finish off with. I'm glad that they went like with cinema, and they kind of, I felt like they kind of told something to us, like Thomas, like maybe he just wanted out, and maybe at the beginning of their journey, since 1993, or just a little bit before when they started the group, maybe they told each other, hey, when one of us decides that it's time to end this group, then I'll hit the self-destruct button on you, and I'll ride off into the sunset. And it just really emotional, really emotional. But I was jamming to some Daft Punk today, and I've got to say, Jesus, I keep hitting the mic. New setup, new recording angle. I'm trying to look at the camera from time to time, but that's kind of what inspired me to record this episode, honestly. Just some Daft Punk. I listened to some Daft Punk. I was like, hey Siri, play Daft Punk, and she did it. And I was jamming to Daft Punk, and it was great. I was jamming and just remembering.
I didn't find that on Apple Music.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Shut down. Sorry. She actually was gonna play that. I don't know why I said that. But like I said, I'm going to do that. This is inspiring me to do a top 8 Daft Punk songs or tracks from my point of view, which are just my favorites, just basically me sharing. So expect that episode this week. I don't know when I will do it, but maybe Thursday, maybe Friday. One of those days. But I had to, after showering, after my workout, I had to throw on this Tron-inspired Daft Punk shirt, which was from the film, which I told my mom that the story behind how I got it was, back in high school, there was this girl named Carolina, from my group of friends, and she came to school with it one day, and I was like, where did you get that? Like, I was just freaking out, and I was just like, tell me. And then she told me, and I went the next day to Hot Topic to get it, and showed up to school the next day with that shirt, and she was just in awe. But I had to do it. This is Tron Legacy is one of my favorite movies, and the fact that Daft Punk made an appearance in that film was phenomenal. And the fact that Daft Punk will never make an appearance in my life is a tragedy. But it's okay, because I have their songs in my heart, and I will make a playlist too. I will make the playlist on Apple Music, so I will be sharing that on my Twitter going when I post the episode. So look forward to that if you will, please. Last things before I close out this episode, actually. Before I get to my last topic of utilizing Clubhouse, I was wanting to tell you, the person who clicked on this episode, like I said, what I've been up to, what I've been trying to keep myself busy with, and that basically is I'm working on my bike right now, which I'm enjoying. Today, actually, the start of today has been phenomenal, because I didn't normally start my day with editing, which I usually do. I do my morning stretches, and then I get my editing done for the podcast from the network before I start posting and promoting. But today I started in the backyard. I decided to clean the whole backyard and reorganize my mom's plants and all that good stuff, and I was having a blast just cleaning the backyard. I was just listening to podcast music. I was listening to Bill Burr, just being busy, and that really energized me for my day, and I'm glad that it kind of helped motivate me record this episode. But now that the backyard is cleaned, I have a little workstation in the back, which I'm getting to when I'm telling you about my working on the bike. And basically, I disassembled a bike that my sister had, and I got her permission first, and I'm stripping it down and sanding it down. And right now the sanding process is kind of very long because I don't have a sander, and I'm basically creating blisters on my hands trying to sand the original paint job off so I can paint it yellow. And that's what I'm working on right now in the back. So I have a little workstation going on. I'm also just really busy taking care of my dogs. I got my Ava, who I adopted in September. She's a little sick right now, like I mentioned in the beginning of the episode, but she just got a sister or a cousin. I don't know what you want to call her. I don't know what the family keeps going back and forth on what they're going to call her, but her name is Luna, that's for sure. She's a gorgeous black lab, and she's a puppy. So to not let my eyes go from Luna is very important, because she can either go in the pool, or she can. It's very it's great. It's great because it's great to be running after a dog, and I love it. I'm grateful for these dogs in my life. Who Ava's right here next to me, laying in her bed. Um, but yeah, I'm also kind of keeping myself busy with reading books. I'm not sure if I mentioned it on an older episode of the Nathan Scott Show, maybe on an older episode, yeah. That I'm reading my challenging myself to read 50 books this year, and I'm on my second book, which is called Authority by Jeff Vandermeer, and this is part of the Southern Reach trilogy, and I'm actually just probably very impressed with Jeff Vandermeer that I decided to buy more of his books, which is also encouraging me to be a little bit more, you know, eyes to the words, and focusing on elaborating more on my words and improve my words, because I think that's going to improve my podcasting. Anything to improve my podcasting. But also, I've always wanted to start reading, and that is what I'm doing. So keeping myself busy with those things, but also, like I said, producing podcasts and looking for a job, because that is very important at this time. But closing this episode, kind of taking applications here. I would like anybody to reach out to me via email, spacekaijuproductions at gmail.com. I'm trying to basically, I am part of Clubhouse, thanks to Chris, my good friend, and I'm trying to, start planning maybe like a day of the week that, podcasters can get together and, discuss topics and or just tips and tricks on how to improve your podcast and knowledge. I think there's a lot of knowledge in like podcasting, and I think Clubhouse is a fantastic way. I actually created a room the other day, and a good old friend from college actually joined, and we talked a little bit about what he's producing right now. So it's fun. It's I think that's the way I'm gonna be able to network and socialize the best while in quarantine, and still kind of trying to keep my distance from everybody. So if you're interested for an invite, I have 6 invites as of now. Let me know. Email me at spacekaijuproductions@gmail.com, and or maybe you can just DM me at the State of Nate or Space Kaiju podcasts on Instagram, and I can send you an invite, and just chop it up, talk podcasting. That's honestly what I want to talk about. There's lots of holes in what I'm doing here, whether it's more, I need more knowledge on how to make more currency, more money via podcast. I feel like I've got the whole production side of it down, and everything else and the producing, but I really got to invest more time in trying to earn more money. Besides, obviously Amazon Associates program, which, like I said, if you would like to support me with that, you can head over to my website, spacekaijuproductions.com, and click on the Amazon banner at the top. But yeah, that ends this episode of the Nathan Scott Show. I appreciate you 9,000 for listening. Make sure you look forward to my top 8 Daft Punk tracks. Also, rest in peace to Daft Punk. I mean, they didn't pass away, or at least I don't think so from what I know so far, but hopefully not. Just know that they have retired, and it sucks. But I thank you guys for listening. And if you've gotten this far, I appreciate you 9,000. I'll see you on the next episode of the Nathan Scott Show.